our first reader is Christine E. Salvatore, who many of you know from Poetry Workshop, right? Christine received her MFA from the University of New Orleans. She currently teaches literature and creative writing at Rosemont College, the Richard Stockton College of New Jersey, and Egg Harbor Township High School. Her poetry has recently appeared or will appear in the Literary Review. Wow, it's been a long day. The Cortland Review, Prime Number Magazine, and in the Edison Literary Review. Why am I having so much trouble with literary review?
It's hard. It's a lot of hours.
Wow.
Yeah, it is a lot of hours. It's like 4 hours.
I usually went travel.
The risk of sounding like it.
Exactly. She is the recipient of a 2005 fellowship from the New Jersey State Council on the Arts, and thanks for putting up with me murdering your bio. So please welcome Christine.
Okay, hi. Thanks for that information.
You're welcome.
I forgot to say that. Okay, so I'm just going to read a couple poems, and the manuscript that I'm working on right now primarily has to do with place and about finding home and sort of defining what home is. So that's what most of the poems are about. You guys are really close to me.
Believe me.
And I had hummus for dinner. All right, the first one is called Finding Home. In Santa Monica, she held a string of beads to her throat, and I told her that the blue matched her eyes and the green, her tattoo, that dragon etched into her foot. Years later, she wrote me long letters on cream paper and seasoned ink, telling of temptations, her ache, and of its escape. When I asked her to come home, when I tried to persuade the gold craggy coast out of her, she only said New Jersey had gone gray. She left behind our bare beaches for the sunlight that bleached her blonde hair and slept on someone's rooftop for a month. Her face brightened by, excuse me, it's a typo. Her face brightened by windburn, not sunshine. But she was steadfast about never coming back to the winter she left behind, and now that things have gone bad again, I can't reach across the broken bottle blackness between us to bring her home. California is no place for her to settle down, the bluest water still deep enough to drown in. So when I wrote that poem, I thought I knew everything about where people should live and what home was. That was my, I'll tell you what to do with your life poem. This is my comeuppance, leaving town. I try to ignore those fathers and mothers, the ones who taught that steel beams are better than soft tips of grass, foundations cannot be made of soil and root, that stability is all. But 3 years in a city can take the wildness out of you. Words become concrete, thoughts like cracked sidewalks. You always know where you're going, when to walk, when not to. This is a place with appointments and time budgets, where early morning is a time to get going instead of talk. Last night in a bar on Delancey Street, your breath collapsed on me. I'll tell you, there is still that urge to fight over quarters at the pool table, stay till closing, walk home on a less than brightly lit street. I can't help noticing how your sigh fell from me onto watermarked wood that had long forgotten the falling of leaves, the thrill of a storm wind. My mind rises high above the squareness of buildings, the blackness of asphalt, tries desperately to leave this vacancy and take you with me. Okay. This is my autumn poem, which I think was probably inspired by After Apple Picking by Robert Frost, my favorite autumn poem, and it's called Harvest. In the hour before dark, a woman sits on her front porch watching the geese head south. She can't endure the ritual departure much longer and feels on her porch swing unsafe, as if she is dangling and ready to fall. If she dreams tonight, it will be of apples, late in season, trees heavy with red fruit, too cumbersome for bent branches to cling to anymore. In the morning, the hard ground will be littered with them, and if the air is right, she'll pack a bag and leave this town. She's not running, but winter is coming, and this year has been without tangible harvest. Maybe she'll drive far enough to find an orchard just in blossom, fruit not nearly ready to be picked, consumed. There, with the sound of wings overhead, she will find a place to start from. She wants to be more tree than fruit. She wants to bear the weight of each season and then be able to just let go. My poems go so fast. I'm done. No, I have a couple more, but like not many. So there was a period in my life when I lived in New Orleans, but I'm a Jersey girl. I like that term. I'm proud of that term. Some people would not think that you'd be proud of that, but I am. And when I moved to New Orleans, I felt really out of place, and I felt like, I want to go back to New Jersey. But after I lived in New Orleans for a while, when I would go back to New Jersey, I discovered that people had sort of filled in my space, sort of didn't, not that they didn't need me anymore, but life went on without me, and I didn't really expect that. And then I would go back to New Orleans, and that didn't feel like home either. So at a certain point when I was sort of like, thinking about these things about home, it seemed like on an airplane was the closest thing that I had to home, was between these two places. And so this poem is about that, and it's called Destination. These days she can't discern if she is moving towards something or away. Airline itineraries don't help. To go north, sometimes she must first travel west, and all the time she feels lost on arrival. When one home replaces another, does the body ever find rest? Accustomed to being just gone, she's forgotten the solid pain of being present, and at every gate, her greeters wait for her absence. She likes it best in the air, going anywhere, the checkerboard pattern of the earth shifting slowly beneath her. North, east, south, and west, she would smash the compass glass if she could. How wonderful to be just leaving, always about to arrive. Sorry, I am losing my voice tonight. Sorry, I'm shuffling a little bit. That's what happens when you go first. You don't have time to change your mind. Okay, I'm going to shift slightly just for the last two poems. This one's called Diastole, and I wrote it after I had open heart surgery when I was 24, which sounds horrible, but I'm fine, so everything's okay. But I kept learning these new terms that I'd never paid attention to in biology class in high school, and diastole was one of those terms. And it's sort of I write a lot of persona poems, and it's my imagining of a friend of mine, basically in midlife. Hopefully this won't come true for him. Diastole. Go out for milk, the man's wife tells him. So he does. On the way home, he takes a wrong turn, finds himself driving out Seven Bridges Road. Past the Coast Guard station now, he doesn't stop or turn around, even though he knows the road dead ends at the bay after the last bridge. Nor does he think it strange he can't find his way back to a house he's lived in for 20-some years. But instead he thinks, look where I am. He begins to notice his own breathing and tries the in through the nose, out through the mouth method, like Maggie's yoga classes teach her. But he's not thinking about his wife or home now. Instead he's thinking, there might be a boat waiting on the water's edge. Then he can go out to the middle of the bay and really hear the breath that fills his lungs and enters the blood, pumping his heart. And he likes the feel of full lungs, the feel of his heart relaxed and full. But somewhere a mobile phone is ringing. And the man takes a sharp breath. The car swerves. He feels a slight squeeze in his chest as he fumbles for the right button, only to hear Maggie's static-ridden voice. What the hell is taking so long? The man stops the car. He tosses the phone into the wavering dark of the marsh grass. For now, he sits and breathes and tries to enter the regular rhythmic expansion of his heart. And this is the last poem I'm going to read. And this was an assignment that I gave my high school students, and I kind of decided to write with them one day, which I don't normally do, but I had this moment where I thought, I wonder if these assignments ever work. So maybe I should try this, especially the ones for the younger kids. I see what they come up with usually looks nothing like my assignment, and I'm just happy they wrote. But I tried this one. So a lot of people are familiar with reading someone else's poem and trying to get a copy change from that, or using a poem as a springboard to write your own poem. So the poem that this is sort of in honor of is Eyes Fastened with Pins by Charles Simic, where he personifies death, going out on a night's work, basically. And it's called Hunger, and it's very new, so I'm probably going to have to look very closely at the page while I read it. Hunger. There. How bitter hunger has become. It's a lot of work not giving people what they want, hiding the tasty cakes, ruining the dinner, making people believe that gluttony is for the sinner, so starvation must be for the saints. Occasionally, someone faints and hunger carefully revives her with a rumble in the belly or an ache in some unknowable place. These days, hunger has taken to keeping dreams away from the ambitious, growing ever suspicious of the bounty he must keep at bay. There is more than one way to starve the others. Hunger is enterprising enough to keep in business one way or another. Thank you.